Hello to all CENIMASTER lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. The story begins in 2045 with a girl named Emma living in the Gracefield House orphanage since the day she was born. The place is run by a woman everyone calls Mom, who is responsible for the orphans. Since Emma is now 15, she also helps take care of the younger children, along with two other teenagers, Norman and Ray. After studying, the children are allowed to play in the garden, but they are forbidden from crossing the orphanage gates. Each child has a tattoo on their neck with their identification number, and the maximum age one can stay at Gracefield is 16. From time to time, a family comes to adopt one of the younger children. Today, it's little Connie's turn. Everyone bids her farewell with love and affection, making the older kids think that their turn to leave is also approaching. They are excited to see what the outside world looks like. Emma and Norman agree to send letters to each other. After the farewell, Emma notices that Connie forgot her favorite toy, her stuffed bunny. Ray points out that the gate lights are still on, and Emma might catch up to Connie in time if she runs. Ray reminds them that it's forbidden to go out late at night, but Emma's sadness convinces him to break the rules. They run through the garden while Ray watches them from the balcony, feeling uneasy. When they reach the dark gate area, they get scared as they find it deserted, with only a large truck parked there. Emma pulls back the truck's curtain to peek inside and is shocked by what she sees, dropping the bunny from her hand. Norman approaches her and is horrified to see Connie lying lifeless in the back of the truck with a strange flower protruding from her chest. They hear noises and quickly hide under the truck, staying silent. At that moment, a massive demon steps in front of them, revealing terrifying-looking demons talking about the orphanage as a farm and praising the taste of the product coming from it, referring to the children. After placing Connie in a wooden box, one of them complains about her age and asks when they can take the three older ones. The person who responds is Mom, and Emma breaks down upon realizing that she is selling the children as food to the demons. When one of the monsters smells something unusual and decides to check under the truck, it only finds the bunny, as Emma and Norman have already fled. Mom grows suspicious when she sees the toy and takes it to her room. The next day, Emma struggles to maintain her smile, still terrified by the discovery. She starts piecing everything together, realizing the reason behind the strict rules and the fact that no one actually sends letters. Later, Emma and Norman sneak past the garden barrier for the first time and are disheartened to find a towering wall. The two plan to escape the orphanage before the demons return, but they don't want to leave anyone behind. However, they are unsure how to get everyone out. Norman decides not to tell the others the truth until he and Emma come up with an escape plan. Suddenly, they hear a commotion and return to the garden, finding a girl crying because her friend got lost in the forest. Calmly, Mom looks at something resembling a compass and heads straight into the forest, returning with the lost girl in her arms. Emma deduces that the device reveals the children's locations, and Norman guesses that they have tracking devices in their ears. This means Mom saw them near the wall earlier and likely showed them the device on purpose to scare them. Ray, feeling uneasy about all the whispering, follows his friends into the forest, where they eventually tell him everything. He agrees to escape with them, but believes it's risky to take everyone along, especially since no one knows what the outside world is like. It could be full of demons. The three decide to explore first and discover many books in the library donated by someone named William Minerva. With the help of little Phil, they find that the seal on the books contains Morse code, which differs in each volume. Ray also deduces that the demons are particularly interested in their brains, which is why Mom makes them study so much. That afternoon, Mom introduces everyone to her new assistant, Sister Crone. When alone, Mom informs her that three of the residents have discovered the truth. Crone becomes anxious, as protocol dictates that such individuals should be handed over immediately. Mom firmly forbids her from reporting it and says they just need to monitor the children for a few weeks until the next shipment. The next day, Emma and her friends secretly start training the younger kids to escape without revealing the truth, disguising the activities as games. Everything goes well until Crone joins them in a game of hide-and-seek. Emma, unfazed, tells Norman this is an opportunity to observe Crone and learn more about their enemy. Unbeknownst to them, Crone has her own secret plans. She intends to expose the irregularities at Gracefield to the demons and take Mom's position. She gives her all during recess, but quickly realizes she's dealing with extraordinary children. She even questions the director about it, but gets no answers. A few days later, Norman suspects there's a spy among the residents and decides it's time to reveal the truth gradually, starting with the older kids, Dawn and Gilda. At first, Dawn refuses to believe him and even hits Ray with boxes out of anger, but his skin trusts Emma and helps convince her friend. Norman tells Emma and Ray that he hid two ropes in two different places and told each of the two grandparents to stay in one place. But if one of them disappears, then they found the spy. But the next day, it is revealed that the places were switched. and he says that the traitor is actually Ray. The boy admits his mistake and explains that he offered himself for this service years ago after he discovered the secret in exchange for information. Mom promised to keep him in the asylum until the maximum age and also to escape. He has sweets from the outside world, and despite Norman's anger, he notices that the real rope is still in place, so he might not tell Mom. All he knows is that he explains that the friendship between them made him change his mind and says that all of this is part of his plan as a double agent. In fact, he is the one who stole Connie's rabbit, knowing that this will lead to this discovery. Moreover, he claims that he saw the transmitters of the implants in the ears and confirms that he knows how to turn them off. As for her, she forgives her owner without hesitation, and even though everything Norman went through is difficult for her, he also chooses to see the bright side because Ray can help them more than anyone. Then he shows Norman all the things he was collecting under the floor of the room so that he can turn off the transmitters and says that he is just waiting for the matter because tomorrow without Ma'am being present. He gives his opinion again about who they will take with them and says that it is crazy for them to try to free everyone. He suggests that Norman deceive Emma, pretend to agree to the group escape so that she remains cooperative until the end. But Norman then reveals his feelings towards the girl and says that he could never let her cry. Then, Ray tells the mom that Norman will try to poison her with insecticide and detergent. She thanks him for the information, but also informs him that the next delivery will be in January, exactly when Ray turns 16. Dawn and Jalda join the three, and the group continues planning the escape until Crony makes a strange show, showing them that she also has a number tattooed like them, as well as a wound on her chest where the transmitter was implanted, which could burn her in seconds once she gets out. With no hope of being free, all she wants is to run a good farm, and their escape is her chance to bring down the mom. As a sign of good faith, she reveals that Mom's real name is Isabella, and that this farm is unit number 3. After that, Crony walks and invites the young men to go to her at night if they want more information. Emma doesn't trust her and advises everyone to be careful, but she still agrees to the visit. Crone admits she's never seen the outside world, but knows things escalated to this point due to a long war between humans and demons. When the land was finally divided, some humans were left behind as part of the deal to manage human production for consumption. Crone is surprised to realize the rebels already knew about the transmitters in their ears and grows frustrated when they leave without giving her any leverage against Mom. Ray, meanwhile, has been waiting for a camera, and when he retrieves it, Mom reminds him he only has 2 months left to live. He calls everyone together for a group photo, telling his friends he now has everything he needs for the plan. Crone, growing uneasy, suddenly searches the room, and Gilda catches her inspecting Phil's piggy bank. She alerts the others, and they quickly relocate all the items they've been collecting, hiding them in the same piggy bank Crone already checked. However, Crone becomes suspicious of the underground space and decides to search everything again, starting with the piggy bank. Just as she's about to reach inside, Mom arrives unexpectedly, and Phil seizes the opportunity to take his toy. Ray is tasked with distracting Mom with a fake poisoning scheme, but she sees through the trick and locks him in a room. When he sees him rushing out like that with the tracking device in his hand, he gets worried about his friend and runs to save him. Exactly at the moment Ray breaks the door, the mom catches the 2 escapees at the fence and speaks to them honestly for the first time. She says she loves all the children here, and that's why she gives them a very good life and hopes they die happy. But when Emma ignores justification and attacks her, she ends up injured because the mom breaks her leg. The other 3 arrive just in time as she reveals that Norman's farewell will be tomorrow. He spends the day trying to control his despair and tells his friends he'd rather be eaten by demons than risk their escape. But Ray and Emma don't let him sacrifice himself. Emma asks Ray how he discovered the horrible secret of Grace Field, and he explains that he was able to retain memories from his early years. Because of this, Ray still remembers being in a place called the Headquarters, where he saw demons with many human infants and adults, and the gates of Grace Field lead to that place. That's why there's no way to escape from there. After explaining all this, Ray gives Norman the disabling device to use on his ear and try to escape by tomorrow, even if the plan to hide and wait for Emma's leg to heal doesn't succeed. When Norman returns to his room, he opens the drawer next to his bed and finds the pen that Crone left there. The next morning, the mom announces Norman's departure during breakfast. The children celebrate his adoption and ask him to write them letters. The older ones struggle to hide their anger, as this is the first farewell where they know the truth. Later, when everyone is free to play outside, they go with Norman to the fence. At the same time, Ray and Emma remain hidden in the garden. He crosses the restricted area, throws the rope over the fence, and climbs to the top just as the mom is organizing an activity with the children. She quickly realizes he's gone and pretends to be surprised while checking the tracking device. However, the rebels are even more shocked when they see Norman emerging from the forest. At night, he explains that there's a large pit on the other side of the fence and draws what he saw from above, pointing out the location of a bridge for everyone to cross. He returns the disabling device and says he didn't get to use it. The other two realize he intended to come back from the start. Norman only pretended to agree with their plan but remained determined to sacrifice himself for his friends. Emma doesn't accept this and even knocks him to the ground in front of everyone when it's time for him to leave, begging him to try to escape instead of surrendering. Norman refuses to listen to her and continues writing letters, maintaining the facade in front of the other children to avoid causing problems. Later, the mom escorts him to the gates and leaves him there alone. After a while, a man arrives, introducing himself as the supervisor responsible for protecting this entire world. He explains that demons need to feed on human brains to survive, and thanks Norman for his great sacrifice. Norman, however, is deeply worried about his friends and asks if there is no human outside who could be an ally to humans. The man says yes, but they've all disappeared and warns that eradicating them is part of his job. This doesn't have the desired effect, as Norman challenges the supervisor's confidence and bets on the opposite. There must still be many humans willing to help those living on the farms, and that hope is enough for him. The supervisor is forced to admit that Norman is a very special boy because he remains calm and even smiles as the demons come to take him. Ray and Emma are deeply affected by his loss and lack the energy to continue with the escape plan. Ray gives the disabling device to Don and Gilda, assuring them they can try if they want because he no longer has any hope. Later, the mom visits Emma and tells her she's recommending her for a promotion, suggesting she could become the next mom instead of being fed to the monsters. This way, she could continue caring for the children and help others, which is her greatest talent. Emma is shocked by this strange offer, but cannot betray her friends in such a way and falls back into despair. The mom, seeing all the rebels without the strength to resist, is pleased with the outcome and once again proves that her methods always work. 2 months later, on Ray's birthday, Emma visits him at midnight, her leg now healed. They hadn't spoken much recently because the mom had been monitoring them closely, but now they both admit they haven't given up on the idea of escaping. Emma reveals she has distributed tasks to Don and Gilda to avoid drawing attention to herself, and now everything is ready. She plans the escape for the next day during lunch and says she will take all the residents with her as she originally intended. Ray stubbornly insists it won't work because the mom will be expecting it and shows Emma his plan. Ray's idea is simply to set the orphanage on fire immediately to distract the mom and make her superiors think the escape was a desperate act. He explains all this to Emma as he pours gasoline in the dining hall and leaves her in a state of panic when he pours the last drop on himself. Ray, being the smartest student in the class, has a brain so valuable that the mom wouldn't focus on anything else when she sees him burning. He lights a match before Emma can stop him. From outside, we see the dining hall engulfed in flames. Moments later, the alarm bell starts ringing, and just as expected, the mom rushes there in terror when she sees on the tracking device that Ray is in the middle of the fire. The children begin to come down from their rooms, frightened, and the mom tells Gilda to take them outside while she searches for a fire extinguisher. She is entirely focused on saving the genius boy, but the fire has spread too much, and she can't extinguish it alone no matter how hard she tries. At that moment, the mom considers saving at least Emma, the second best student in the class. But when she starts calling for her, she realizes the girl has already disappeared. Only now does she notice that the children weren't wearing their pajamas when they came down the stairs, as if they knew something was going to happen. By this time, they have already reached the forest, where Don and Gilda had hidden everyone's bags. Ray is also with them. We learn that the fire didn't start when he lit the match. Emma managed to put it out before it fell to the ground. She called the children to help her finish the rest and created a dummy to take Ray's place. The hardest part was removing the transmitter from his ear, but this was crucial to finally deceive the mom. And the group is running towards the wall while Emma is telling Ray what really happened in those 2 months. Norman had seen those gasoline cans before and expected that Ray would try to distract mom with a fire. That's why he left a letter for Emma, with all the instructions to be ready for when that day came. Emma, while pretending to be depressed, spent all that time coordinating the operation through Don and Gilda. She gradually revealed the secret to the other kids. The only ones left behind were the very young ones. But Emma left Phil in charge of organizing them as they grew up and promised she would come back to get them before they reached the age for slaughter. Additionally, the little ones turned out to be very useful at this moment because mom would already be chasing the escapees when they surrounded her, pretending to be scared and asking her to carry them. After struggling to push them away, she warns her superiors about the rebellion and asks them to send reinforcements. By that time, a group of rebels is already over the wall. Emma is startled when she hears the alarm at the headquarters ringing earlier than expected, but she still has one last trick up her sleeve. She now tells Ray that they're not running towards the bridge because that's what the enemies are expecting. In the letter, Norman had identified the narrowest point in the pit, which is the place where Don is shooting the rope to the other side, creating a temporary zip line. Emma is the last to cross, and Ray is shocked when he sees that Mom is already on top of the wall running towards them. Both of them head forward, and Mom admits that she had been there before because she thought of escaping when she was the same age. But the sight of the pit and the dense forest made her retreat. Emma responds that she's not walking alone and that even if there's no place for humans in the world, they can create a world of their own and start from scratch. Mom, furious, threatens to cut the rope before Emma reaches the other side, but she hesitates. After Emma speaks, Mom remembers her own childhood, and it's revealed that Ray is her son. Regretful for her actions, she returns to the orphanage and asks for forgiveness from the little children. In the forest, Emma takes the pen that Norman left with the letter, revealing that it contains a hidden device. By twisting it, the pen displays the seals of William Minerva. Additionally, an owl flies off to guide them to a safe place. Isabella is punished for her negligence in allowing Emma and Ray to escape. The evil creature quickly arrives and uses the deadly flower on her chest. Meanwhile, the kids climb a hill, gazing at the vast world waiting for them to explore. And that's the end of the movie. See you in a new summary.